Okay, so for the right section on main page, let's run it and we'll see the design while we actually design the UI. Let me try to set it up side by side. Okay, so in this on main page.xaml only, we have main grid with background color as this light wheat color. Okay, so in this, what we are going to do, we are going to have three different rows. So row definitions, first row for this current order item and this date time, then comma, second row which will be star where we will have all the cart items, and then third row where we will have those subtotal tags and total and those buttons, all that stuff at the very bottom. That's why we are having it as auto star auto. So auto, whatever space this section is taking, then star, and then last one is auto, whatever space the bottom last section is uh, getting, and then whatever space is remaining, that will be for the second row where we will have all the cart items. All right. So this vertical stack layout, this first vertical stack layout, this will be grid dot row 0. Okay. And on this we'll have spacing of, let's say, 5. And on this main grid, this lightweight grid, here we'll have a padding of, let's say, 10. Okay. And then this first label, current order items, let's say current order, and let's have font size, a bigger font size, let's say 25, and font attributes as bold. Save it, and we are good. Current order, and then this date and time. And after this is the vertical stack layout, first one. After this, we are going to have the collection view for cart items, and then we are going to have again a vertical stack layout for grid dot column, sorry, grid dot row 2, the last row, where we will have the subtotal, tax, amount, and our buttons, all this stuff. So this is how we are going to have our this right UI. Okay. Now after this header, for this collection view for cart items, we need one model for these cart items. Okay, which will be observable, because we can increase and decrease quantity, and on the basis of quantity the amount for that particular cart item can also be changed. Okay, so for this, first thing we need to create a model. So we'll go to our models folder. Here we can go to menu category model, or you can directly right click and create a new model. I'll say public class and cart model. This will be an observable object, and because this is observable object, it should be a partial class. All right, in this we'll have first int item id, then we'll have string name, then we'll have string icon. After that we are going to have decimal price, and then we will have quantity. So quantity is going to be observable because we can modify it. We'll say private int underscore quantity, and this is going to be an observable property because this can be changed within this object. And after that we'll have a property of type decimal for amount of this cart model item. which will be a product of price times quantity. Now price is not getting changed, so we are okay. But whenever this quantity is changing, at the same time we need to modify amount as well on the UI. We need to tell that quantity has changed. Now you also need to notify changes for amount. So for that, Community Toolkit MVVM gives us one more attribute apart from this observable property. Here what we can do, we can say comma and notify property changed for. Okay, observable property, this is for just this quantity, and then notify property change for whenever this thing is changing. If we want to notify change for any other property as well, we can use this notify property changed for which name of the property. So we'll say name of amount. Now whenever this quantity is changing, UI will be changed for quantity, and it will also trigger and change event for this amount, because we are saying it here. So wherever we have amount on the UI, that will also change. This is what we need. Save it. We are good. Let's move this cart model to its separate class. Here we have this cart model. Now in our home view model, here we have all the data. Let's see, remove these unused using statements. Now this cart items collection on this right section, that can be changed in real time. We can add items to the collection, we can remove items from the collection, and then we can modify quantity as well. So for modifying quantity, we have cart model, and in that cart model we have our observable property, so that is sorted. But for adding items and removing items, for this we will use observable collection, which actually raises the events whenever the collection is changing, and whenever we are adding any item, removing any item, replacing any item. Okay, so for this, here we'll use public observable collection system component collections dot object model. From here, this is a generic type which needs what type of items it can have. It will have cart model, and here we'll say cart items. This is the name of the property. All right, and now we will have a default value for this. So new default value, so that it does not break. Now we are good. Save it. Let's use this cart items on our main page in a collection view here. Okay, or maybe before doing this, let's have the logic to add items to the cart, so that we can at least see something designing in here, right? Okay, so for that, whenever we are selecting or tapping any item in here, for example this coffee, cocktail, or any of these items, whenever we are tapping on these, this should add that item to the cart. And if that item already exists in the cart, then it should simply increase the quantity. That's what we need. Okay, okay, so we need commands. Whenever we tap on this, we need a command. Let's create a command here on this home view model. So here we'll say private void add to cart. Okay, and we will have complete menu item as a parameter. Okay, now on the basis of this menu item, we will first check if this current menu item, it already exists in our cart or not. For this, we'll say var cart item equals cart items dot first or default. Here we'll say c dot id, c dot item id equals menu item dot id. Then we'll check if cart item is not equals null, or let's say first have cart items equals null. That means item does not exist in the cart, add item to cart. Else this item already exists in cart, this item exists in cart. In this case, what we'll do, we'll simply increase the quantity in cart for this item, quantity for this item in the cart. All right, so these two things we will do here. So first add item to cart, and that cart items, this is actually of type cart item, so we need to convert this menu item to cart item. Okay, so here we can do cart item equals new cart item, what was that? It was cart item, right? Cart model, sorry. Oh, it should be cart item model. Let's have cart model only, but it should be actually cart item model. Cart model, and in here we will have item ID, icon, name, price, and quantity 1. Because when we are adding the item to the cart, we will add one item at a time. So quantity 1. Okay. After generating this, we'll say cart items dot add this cart item. Cool. Now in else part, what we'll do, we have this cart item. So on this, we will simply say cart item dot quantity plus plus. Just increase the quantity. No need to do anything else. Now right now this is a simple method. We need to change it to command. So here we'll say we'll apply this relay command attribute, and community toolkit.mvvm is going to create a command for us for this add to cart. Save, and we are good now. Now what we'll do, on main page where we have our collection view for menu items, here on this border and on this image button, on these both we need to have commands. On this image button we have command, and this command, this is defined in main home view model. This is not defined inside this, so we need to follow the approach we have followed for the category collection view. This command syntax, binding source, relative source, this ancestor type, and all these things. So let me copy this command. Copy, and let's add it in here for image button, and I'll just change the name of the command. It will be add to cart command. And then for command parameter, we will use binding dot, that means this complete object, which is actually this menu item object, and this is the one our command expects. So we are good. Save it, and we are fine. Now let's copy this command and command parameter, and on this border, the main border where we have our menu item, on this main border we will have border dot gesture recognizers. In here we are going to have tab gesture recognizer, and same we are going to paste command and command parameter and save it, so that it triggers the same add to cart command when we click on image button or we click anywhere on that border, on that item. Save it, and now we should be good to work on this current order. Right now what we'll do, we'll directly have that cart items observable collection in here. Then we'll start designing the items for that. So here collection view for that. So we'll say collection view grid dot row 1, and here we'll say items source equals binding cart items, and we can't see these cart items because this is in running state and it cannot tell that we have these cart items, but we are good. We'll have these cart items here, save it, and we will simply stop and restart the app because we made so much changes in C sharp file. So let's see. Okay, it is here. Let's try to add. You see, it directly came. I clicked on this coffee. I clicked on it again. Nothing is happening, but it should actually increase the quantity. Click on any other item. It got added. Go to snacks. Add item. 4 items. 5 items. 6 items. So that means add to cart functionality is working. Let me try to go to other category and click on this shopping cart button. Click. Item came. Click on image. Item came. Click on text. Item came. So all these things are working as we are expecting these to work. All right. Now we just need to design this. So let's start working on design part. Okay. So in this collection view, we'll say collection view dot item template. Before item template, let's have some spacing between these items. So we'll say collection view dot items layout. Here we'll say linear item layout, orientation vertical, and we will have some spacing. So item spacing, let's say 2. And then we have this item template. Inside this item template, we are going to have a data template of type. This will be cart model from models. Okay. Now we don't have anything because right now we have empty data model. Inside this, what we will have image, text, that name of the item, price, amount, plus minus buttons for increasing and decreasing cart quantity, and then one remove icon. Remove the item from the cart. Okay. So that remove icon, I'm going to have it on top of the item. So I'm going to have a grid without any row or column. First, I will have the entire uh, item inside a border. Grid border. What is it? Okay. Then I'm going to have an image button for a cross icon. So, but for that, before that, let's work on this border. Save. Something is not right. Oh, double border. So we have this border, or maybe all these are all those borders. Okay. The first thing, let's have padding of 5. Now we can see we have multiple items here. Okay. After this, we are going to have stroke shape round rectangle. Okay. By the way, if you are not okay with this typing, because there is no IntelliSense for this round rectangle, so there is one more way to do this. What you can do, you can actually do this inside border. You can say border dot stroke shape. This is the property, and here you can have round rectangle. Okay. And on round rectangle, we have corner radius property. We can set it to 10. I don't know if you can see it. These are coming here. Let's do this. On this border, we will have a background color. You can have all these properties like this if you want to. So background color, we use it at, let's say, static resource Lightweight. Should we have it as lightweight or some other color? Let's have this lightweight only, but on this collection view, let's have uh, background color of wheat. Okay, inside this we can see this. All right, this is fine now. Okay, we have these items now. Item spacing 2, so that we can at least see some spacing on this border. After setting border color, let's have some padding as well. Oh, we already have padding. Okay. All right. Now we can start adding the items. That means, so inside this border, we'll have a grid with column definitions. As first, we will have image. We'll have that, let's say 70, and then we'll have second column where we will have everything. Okay. So in this first column where we want to have our image, we'll follow the same approach we have following for menu items. So first we'll have a border. Inside that border we will have our image. Okay, so here we'll say border, which will be grid dot column 0, and here we are going to have image with source as binding icon, and we can see something cool. All right, after this border we will have one vertical stack layout where we are going to have name and price and card buttons. Okay, so in this vertical stack layout, I'm going to have first one label, then this should be grid dot column 1. Sorry, this vertical stack layout should be grid dot column 1, grid dot column 1, and this label, for this we are going to have text as binding name, and we can see this name here. Okay, and after name we will have our price and buttons. So we will have price here and buttons here. So let's have a grid. Okay, so here we'll have a grid with 3 columns. So column definitions, first we will have auto, or maybe 2 only. First we will have that what we call it, that price, and then second one we will have for that card buttons, increase, decrease, and quantity. So auto and star. Okay, now in here we are going to have a label with grid dot column 0, and text would be binding price. Now we can see the price as well. Okay, and on this grid we will have vertical options as end. Nothing, vertical options as end. Okay, we'll see why this is not working. Let's leave it, maybe. Or if it is not working, let's remove it. We'll see why it is not working. We'll see that later. But right now, inside these things, let's have some spacing, the using some different approach, and that different approach is going to be in this vertical stack layout. We'll have spacing, let's say spacing 5. All right, on this label we will have, okay, we have this price. So because this is price, we'll have string format 0:c, because this is currency, we can see it as currency now. And on this label we'll have a bigger font size, let's say 18, font attributes bold, and text color as, let's say, maroon. Great, save it, and now we are good with this. And these two things now, this image and this coffee and this 1.99, these things are touching each other, so we need some spacing here as well. So both of these are children of this grid where we have column definition 70 and star. So here we will have column spacing of, let's say, 10. Okay, now let's do this. Instead of 70, let's have it as 60, smaller. Save it. And now on this border where we have our image, first let's have some styling to image. So because the container is 60, we'll have height request as 60 and width request as 60. Okay, and aspect we are going to use aspect fit. Okay, and on this border parent of this image, here we'll have same thing, height request at 60, width request at 60, and then we'll have a background color on this one, let's say light gray color, not golden red, light gray. And then we have these things inside this border. Let's have border radius here as well, so we'll say stroke shape round rectangle 5. Okay, round rectangle 5. Now for this name, for this also, let's say font size 18 and font attributes bold. Okay, save, and we are good. Now we can have that plus minus and those things, but before that let's have some more spacing. Okay, we have very less spacing in here. We need that spacing around this collection view, right? So this collection view, where is this? This is the collection view. This is the collection view. So what we can do, let's wrap this collection view inside some other control, maybe just vertical stack layout or simple grid without any row column definition. We'll simply have padding of, let's say, 10, and inside this we'll have our collection view. And now it is breaking because this grid should be grid.row 1, and we remove that grid.row 1 from collection view because now this is not the direct child of the parent main grid. Grid.row 1 padding 10. Let's try to hot reload, and still came here, but this background color, now this is on collection view. We don't need this on collection view, we need this on this container, which is grid in this case. Save it, and we are good now, and we can see our scroll bar as well. Okay, and now we are good. It is coming out pretty good now. Now we want to have that plus minus and quantity. Let's work on that thing. So in this last grid, we have grid.column 0 for this price. And now let's go to the right section where we are again going to have one grid for minus button, plus button, and the quantity. We'll have grid with 3 columns. So here we'll say grid. First we'll tell it where it belongs in its parent. So in its parent, which is again a grid.column 1. Inside this grid.column 1, here we will define column definitions for this one. We are going to have 3 columns, minus and plus for image buttons, minus button and plus button, and then quantity. So we will have star, and let's say 2 star for displaying the quantity, and star. All right. So 25%, 25%, 50%, something like this. So double the size where we will display quantity, and single size where we have the the plus and minus. All right. Now here, uh, first we will have a image button with grid dot column 0. This will be for minus or decrease quantity button. Okay, so grid dot column 0. Here we will have source. Okay, and this source we should have minus underscore regular underscore 24 dot png, and we can see this minus. Okay, now we'll make it this button a bit smaller. Okay, for this we'll say height request 30 and width request 30, and let's have background color of yellow. These buttons are different color. Now we have set height and width 30, but this is not working, and that is because we have some global styling on image buttons where we have minimum height and minimum width that is defined in our where is our resources styles, and here if we try to find image button, this is the image button. Here we have this minimum height and minimum width request. Okay, so we can maybe remove this. We will, for now, let's comment this out. And here we have 30 and 30 height and width. Save it. There is some error. Let's stop and run it again. And it again has this error. So this kind of error I was getting with the text associated with error code could not be found. Network error. What is this? I don't know. Let's see in styles when we added this. Did this break something? Sometimes we get unexpected errors. Or maybe if this error is expected, do let me in the comment. If we'll run this again, uncommenting this thing, it came. So maybe it was related to something which is not fine. So we are good. Okay, we have alternate approach for this. So here it is setting minimum height and minimum width request. So we'll go to our main page, and here instead of setting height request and width request, we also will set minimum height request and minimum width request. Save it. Should be good. Let's add a couple of items. Okay. Minimum height request, minimum width request 30 and 30, and let's have some okay, grid dot column 0 because it is taking the entire width. We need to make it smaller, but before that let's add other things. Let's add some corner radius to this. So corner radius of 5. Okay, and save it. Now let's copy this image button, paste this again, and this time grid dot column 0 1 2. So we'll use 2 because this time we want to use that plus button. Okay, so that should be same with, instead of minus it should be plus underscore regular underscore 24. Good. Save it. Everything is else is same. Now this center part for the this column number 2, index 1. On this we will simply have a label where we will display our quantity. Here we'll have a label. First thing we'll set grid dot column 1. Second thing we'll set text, which will be binding, and this is going to be quantity. Cool. This is one here. Now inside this we will set, let's say, background color as white. Text color as maroon, and horizontal options at center, or this is taking this entire thing, and we should also have the same height and width on this, the same we are having on these two things, this minus and plus, these things. So height request 30 and width request 30, but instead of height 30 width 30, okay, first thing, it should be double of these things because it can grow. We will increase the font size. Let's increase the font size, so we'll say font size 18, and we'll have some padding, let's say 5. Okay, and then horizontal options is all already center. We'll set horizontal text alignment to center as well, so the text is in the center. Save it. Now we are good. If it would go 2 digits, then this will maybe overflow from this. That's why we had that second column as the 2 star. Where's the grid? This grid, this grid, where we have this column definitions, star, 2 star, and then again star. So on this grid, we will have, let's say, 30 is this, 30 is this. So this section should be 60. So label width request would be 60. And now we are good. 60, 30, 30. But there is this spacing which we don't need. So for this, we can simply go to this grid, and now we exactly know the width of this section. 2 buttons, 30 each, it becomes 60, and one label, 60 width, so 60 plus 60, 120. So this will be width request as 120, and now we are good. Okay, for this we need it to the very right. So on this grid, we'll say horizontal options as end. Save it, and now we are good. If we add padding to image buttons, would it make any difference? Would it make these items? Yeah, it is making these smaller. Let's have the same padding on both of these. Save, and now we are good. So our design is ready. Now we need to have that cross button here, which will remove this item entirely from this cart. Okay, so for that we have grid, and we will simply have that icon on top of everything. So outside of we have this border, this grid, this border. This is a child of grid. So in here we will have a image button with source as, we have that cross button, right? I guess x underscore regular underscore 24.png. Save it, and yes, we can see this button here. This thing we need horizontally at the end and vertically at the start. So this place, top. All right. Then we need corner radius, same as this border, which will be 5. Okay. Then let's have some, should we have some, yeah, height and width. So let's say minimum height request 25 and minimum width request also 25. Cool. Next thing, we'll say background color as red. Okay. So save it. It is looking fine. Let's have some default shadow. For this, what we'll do, we'll say image button dot shadow, and we'll have default shadow, which is of color black, but we need shadow of red color only because we are using red. So on shadow, we'll set brush red, so red color shadow. Now we are good. Cool. Now we can have the tooltip property as well. So it is supported on Windows desktop. So on this image button, we can say tooltip properties dot text, and here we can say, let's say, remove this item from cart. Save it, and if we mouse hover on it, we should see this tooltip. Remove this item from cart. Remove this item from cart. Remove this item from cart. Right? Now let's see if this binding is working. So we have coffee, two items. If I press on coffee again, you see it went to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 15. Then we have fast food, pizza slice 1, it got added. I clicked on it again. 2 items, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see this is increasing. So we are good. That means this is working, design is working, UI is fine. Now we just need to work on this increase and decrease quantity and remove this cart end. So these three buttons, basically we need to work on this next. So we need 3 comments. Let's go to our home view model only. Let's stop it for now. Home view model, where we have our add to cart command. Here we'll have first private void increase quantity. We'll get complete cart model as a parameter. Okay, here we'll say model dot, or let's say, let's name it item, or maybe cart item. It makes sense. So here we'll say cart item dot quantity plus plus. Okay, then we'll have one more private void decrease quantity. Here also we'll get cart model as a parameter. We'll name it cart item, and here we'll simply say cart item minus minus. Remove the quantity. But when we are removing the quantity, when we are decreasing the quantity, there is one use case. What if quantity becomes 0? So 0 means this item is no longer a part of cart. So if quantity is 0, we should directly remove this item from the cart. So here, after decreasing the quantity, we'll check if cart item dot quantity is equals 0. If that's the case, we'll say cart items dot remove this cart item. Just remove it, because now the quantity is 0. So 0 item quantity does not make sense to have in the cart. Then third one, private void remove item from cart. Here also we will have this cart model cart item, and here we will directly have this cart items dot remove this cart item, like this. Save it, we are good. Now these three are simple methods. Let's make this as expression body, because this is single line only. Now we need to make these as commands. So for that we'll simply add relay command attribute on all of these three. Save. Alright, now we are good to use these. Let's go to main page.xaml. Here we have first remove this item from cart. We have this image button. Here we will have, is this part of collection view? Yes. So we will use the similar approach we have been following for other things, that we should traverse upward using binding relative source till home view model. So let me check if we have that command. So this command and command parameter. So command binding source, relative source, ancestor type, home view model, and path. This is remove item from cart, right? So let's get the name of this method, remove item from cart, and we'll add command after this, because this is what relay command has generated for us. Okay, and we will pass cart binding dot because we are directly passing the complete cart item. Okay, let's copy these two lines and add this for the increase and decrease quantity minus and plus image buttons. So image button minus image button plus save, and then let's use this increase quantity. For plus we will use the command path as increase quantity command, and for the minus we'll use decrease quantity command. Minus button, this is the one, so decrease quantity command. Save everything, let's run it. This should work now. Adding items to the cart, increasing decreasing quantity, and removing items from the cart, all these things should work. Okay, application is here. Let's add items. All right, now orange juice, I'm going to click on this close icon, so it should get removed. Orange juice, it got removed. That means remove item from cart command is working. Now this has 4 quantity nachos, decrease, it became 3, 2, 1. So this thing is working. Now if I press it again, it should remove this item from here because then quantity will be 0, and it got removed. Right now it has 2 quantity, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fried chicken. Now let's go to fried chicken again. When I click on it here, it should increase the quantity to 12, and it is increasing to 12. So that means this thing is working. All these commands are working. And now we are good with this uh, thing as well. Okay. So cart item is ready. Cart collection is ready. Now we should work next on the subtotal, total, tax, and all those buttons actually. Making these cart items, placing the order. That thing we should work next. All right. Close everything.